Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's NACTA webinar session. We are very honored because some of you are going to be going to the NACTA conference in a little over a week. We are going to be seeing live and in person the person who is on today's call. This is Tia. She is the tourism sales manager for Visit Anchorage, and they have a huge, let's say huge presence at this year's NACTA conference because of next year's national conference, which is going to be in September. I'm going to let Tia tell you more about this at the end of the training. But for now, let's get some of the logistics done. First of all, my name is Lorene Romero. I'm your webinar host. Everybody always reminds me I forget to say that. 2, this is being recorded, so everybody is on mute, and we will have this session up on our NACTA YouTube channel in about 24 hours. If you're registered for this class, you will get a recording link that gives the information on how to get there. You can always email me in the background if you want the link a little bit early, but we make sure that it's there on the YouTube channel for NACTA. I also encourage you to sign up and just subscribe to that, so that way if you ever do miss one of our NACTA webinars, you have access to it later. So for now, I'm going to turn the reins over. I'm going to put myself on mute also. And Tia, thank you for being here. As always, thank you for being such a gracious host. And I'm looking forward to what you're going to be doing with the Anchorage Wild Expert Training. I believe it's Modular 1, Explore. Here you go.
Thank you, Lorene. Hello to everyone on the phone with us today from sitting here in beautiful Anchorage, Alaska, where it looks like it's going to be sunny and probably, I think, maybe 35 degrees here. So winter is officially here. So again, as Lorene said, I am Tia Fraley in the Tourism Development Department with Visit Anchorage. And today we're going to do the Anchorage Wild Expert number 1, the Explorer. We do have 3 different training programs available. So this one is going to cover a little bit about Alaska in general. We're going to highlight some of the great things that Anchorage has to offer. And then we're going to travel a little bit south where those cruise lines come in, and then finish with going north a little bit, 2 hours from Anchorage. And then we'll end this. So again, it'll take about 45 minutes. And we'll have questions at the end. So just a little bit about myself. I am a lifelong Alaskan. I love the state that I live in. I did go off to college at the University of Idaho and Washington State University to get a hospitality management degree. I followed my mom into the industry. She was a travel agent that worked into the airline business. So my first job was working for her at the airport. Then I moved into working for Holland America Line for 10 years. Then over to Alyeska Resort for about 4 years, all in sales and marketing. And then I've been here at Visit Anchorage for a little over 3.5 years, and I absolutely love telling you and letting people know why it is so amazing in this great town of Anchorage in Alaska that I live in. So let's get started. The first part is when you compare Alaska to the lower 48, we're 1/5 the size. That is why we are called the Great Land, and that is why you want to tell your clients to give themselves some time to visit. It's hard to get from Fairbanks to Seward all in one day, and once they see a map, they'll understand why. The easiest way to explain Alaska is to break it down into the 5 different regions. The first one, we'll point out the one in the purple there to the right, the Inside Passage or the Southeast. That is where you guys will know a lot of the cruising is done. In the tan area in the bottom, that is South Central Alaska. That is where Visit Anchorage is focused on with the great city of Anchorage, which is our largest city. The largest area is the interior, where is the next popular places that people go to visit is that Denali National Park to go see the great one, Denali, Mount Denali, and then up to Fairbanks where the gold rush is. Further north is the far north in the light blue. You'll get Barrow. That's where the oil production happens. But then also what's new in the last 2 years is the polar bear viewing that's going on up in Kaktovik. So if you have guests that want to see polar bears, they'll go up to the far north. And then also to Nome. We do have day tours departing from Anchorage now that go up to Nome. So if you have clients that want to learn and see what a native village looks like, that is a great day tour that they have the option from Anchorage now. And then in the southwest, in that orange section, that is where a lot of that fresh fish that we all love to eat comes from, along with the crab and some halibut. So a lot of fishing's done there. That is where The Deadliest Catch out of Dutch Harbor is filmed. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen that. So again, this is the best way to explain Alaska's the different regions. And in these different regions, you're going to see different animals. You're going to have different geography. And so when they come to visit Alaska, you need to ask your clients, what do they really want to see and do? But today, we're really going to focus on that south central area and in Anchorage. Again, let's just touch on that the Inside Passage, the cruise. One of the questions I get a lot when I do consumer shows, so this is your clients that I know are asking you too, is I'm going on a cruise in Alaska. What's the difference? I'm sure you get that. Most of the consumers think when they go on an Alaska cruise, it's an Alaska cruise, there's no difference. But as we know, there is. There is what's called the Inside Passage cruise, and there's called the Across the Gulf of Alaska cruise. And the difference is, as you know, the Inside Passage leaves from Seattle or even in from San Francisco. But what you do is you go up and through southeast and you hit Skagway, and then you come back into Seattle or back down to California. And again, that's the Inside Passage, 7-day cruise, great cruise. But if you looked at that map that we showed earlier, they're hitting 4% of our state. What is good for you as travel agents is a lot of people go on that cruise, and it is truly amazing because each day you see something different. It's a different cruise than it is in the Caribbean. And they say, oh my goodness, that was amazing. I want to see more. So you get about 40% of your clients that want to come back for a second time to Alaska. That's if they didn't choose the Gulf of Alaska cruise. The Gulf of Alaska cruise starts in Vancouver, and that'll come actually into South Central Alaska and into Whittier or Seward, depending on the cruise line. So those are the difference between the two different cruises, and we are constantly talking about that to the consumers out there. Is Anchorage cold and dark as everyone thinks? Well, with all those reality TV shows out there, I think there was over 60 that has been recorded, and it is amazing how many people watch them. I'm sure you guys all have a favorite out there, but we're not as cold as dark as everyone thinks. Again, when we looked at that second slide, it showed Alaska on top of the lower 48. Anchorage is down and hanging out almost in Texas, where if you go to the far north, you're up in Minnesota. So just like the states, our temperatures differ just as well. So Anchorage, we're a maritime climate. We're surrounded by 6 mountain ranges and water, so that keeps us very mild. So this is our average temperatures that you see. And again, it looks like June, July, August is cold with only the average of 65, but no, again, that's just the average. Lately, we've been hitting in the 80s to mid 80s during the summer months, so that's why we tell you to tell your clients to dress in layers. One day it can be 85, which it's a very dry heat here, so it'll be very warm, and they will be in t-shirts and shorts. And the next day they could be out on a glacier cruise that's going to be about 65 degrees and a little bit windy, so they want to have those layers on. And then that daylight, we call that playlight or the midnight sun here in Alaska. The most sun that we get is on summer solstice. That happens June 21st of every year. We'll get about 19 and a half hours of sunlight, but that doesn't take in account the twilight that we get. So we get an hour on each side, the sunrise and sunset. So we're going to be pushing 22 hours in June of that nice light sky. And then in December, everyone thinks, again, we're dark. We get 5.5 hours of sunlight on December 21st, which is winter solstice. But again, if you add on that twilight, we'll be up to about 7.5 hours. So again, not as cold and dark as everyone believes. Here's that beautiful city that I'm sitting in. I'm actually right downtown Anchorage, which we're showing you now. So like I mentioned, we have the mountain range. You see the Chugach mountain range behind us, and then we have the Cook Inlet on the other side. Anchorage itself is the largest city in Alaska. It has about 300,000 in population. All of Alaska has just about 700,000. So we really are concentrated here in Anchorage. Anchorage itself, the municipality, runs from the town of Girdwood, south of Anchorage, about 45 minutes, all the way to Eklutna, which is about 25 minutes from Anchorage. So the municipality Anchorage is about the size of Delaware. The beautiful thing about downtown Anchorage in the summer is all the flowers. We're known as the City of Flowers. Our municipality plants over 80,000 in the downtown area in our town square that you see here to the hanging baskets that you see lining up our downtown streets. And again, right with all these blooming flowers, we surround our visitor center. This is the Log Cabin Visitor Center, one of the popular downtown destinations that Visit Anchorage runs. This is full of volunteers that have been either retired school teachers, bush pilots, those that have worked in the travel industry, or those that are just getting into the industry. So you'll have volunteers anywhere from 18 to 85. What's great about our visitor center is all the information that the guests can receive, anywhere from maps to what restaurants are serving the fresh fish that night, to where can they go pick up some laundry detergent, or when's the next shuttle, because right next to our visitor log cabin is a major hub for all the shuttles in and around the downtown area. This is the Anchorage Trolley. This is actually one of the tours that departs right from downtown next to our log cabin. And when I say downtown, this is the corner of 4th and F Street. So this is a locally run tour that's about 50 minutes, leaves every half hour on the hour from 9 a.m. with the last one leaving at 8:30 p.m. And Cyrus, we call him the king of the corner. He literally stands out on the corner from mid-May to mid-September every single day to get his family trolleys off. And this is a great way for visitors to go get a quick glimpse of Anchorage, go over to Lake Hood and kind of get the history of it before they want to start walking around. And again, I said this is the hub for shuttles. There's other shuttles that they can pick up here from different hotel shuttles pick up here. We have a shuttle to the Ulu factory, which is our big knife factory. We have shuttles to the Alaska Zoo, to Flat Top for hiking, to our museum and our Alaska Native Heritage Center. Again, all departing right from this corner of 4th and H. And again, our Visitor Information Center does have a shuttle schedule for all your guests. We know that photography is a big either hobby or profession right now, and a lot of people, whether it's from their iPhone, Samsung, or their professional pictures, we have a great tour that is the Alaska Photo Treks. Jody Overstreet, if anyone has ever met her, she was with Visit Anchorage for 15 years before she started this company 3 years ago. But she has a couple tours that she offers in the summertime. She does one that's just an hour long, and then you walk around downtown, and she teaches people how to use the different angles and functions on their phone, whether it is, again, or on their phone or on their camera. And she does a little history tour. And then she also does one what's called the Twilight or Sunset Tour, and this is called Chasing the Blue Light that you see in this photo. And it's a 4-hour tour that departs at 8 p.m. and she takes you to different locations, and they really go out looking for wildlife. You're looking for the blue light, and you're looking for the sunset that's happening. So an amazing tour that she offers. And then in May and September, she actually offers the chasing of the Northern Lights. A lot of people come to Alaska that want to see the Northern Lights. They do happen year-round, but usually in June, July, and August, we just don't have enough darkness because you need to have a dark sky to be actually able to see the Northern Lights. But in May and in September, if you have got guests that come during that time, you can actually see the Northern Lights, and they have a tour that you can go, and it's called Chase the Northern Lights. You only pay if you play. So they look at the aurora forecast, and if it's at a 4 or 5, meaning that's a good chance that they'll come out, you can actually join their tour. And if you did their other 8 p.m. tour, this is a bonus. This is actually added in for free. The trick is, and let your clients know, you'll get these amazing photos that you see here. This was taken literally only about 2 weeks ago, is that you're going to be up anywhere from 8 p.m. till 3 a.m. So as lovely as they are, they love to come out, especially around 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. But when you get photos like this, they truly are amazing. Another tour that picks up right by our log cabin is called the Big Swig Tour. So craft beers is a big up-and-coming tour in all the states, and especially here in Alaska, because our craft beer is made with glacier water, and they have a lot of fun names, and they're locally owned. This is our group here. I'm the one on the right in the gray sweatshirt holding a sockeye red. We got a horseshoe white, and then Brian in the black shirt there is actually the owner of it. And you get picked up in the afternoon. This is great for any of your clients that maybe are coming off of a cruise and they have the afternoon before they're taken off on a 9, 10, or midnight flight out of Anchorage. This happens at 2:45. You're picked up and you're back by 6:30. So you get to go visit 3 different brewers. You get to meet them. You get appetizers, and you get, again, a little bit of a history. So a great way to spend the afternoon. Also, if they're here for an all day and they're a little more adventurous, he has what's called the Bike and Brew, where you actually start in Kincaid Park and you bike along our coastal trail, which is 11 miles into downtown Anchorage, and then you have lunch in downtown Anchorage, and then you start the brewery tour. So a little bit longer day, but you get some activity and some great craft beers and appetizers at the end. If you have any clients that are here on the weekend, again, May through September, we have what's called the Anchorage Fair and Market. This is on the corner of 3rd and E Street, right kitty corner from the Hotel Captain Cook. But we have over 300 vendors that are here every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. So this is a great place to send your clients that want to do some shopping, whether they want socks or Alaska hat or t-shirts or maybe something made by an Alaska Native. A lot of our Alaska Natives come to Anchorage to sell during the summertime. They'll go up to their villages and make their wares, and then since we are the largest city in Alaska, they'll sell them here during the summertime, and especially at our Anchorage Fair and Market. This is Ursula. She does it with her dolls, and then the 2 symbols that you see on this slide is how you know if you're buying truly Alaska items. The one with the silver hand is that you are buying an item made by an Alaska Native, such as Ursula. If you have the polar bear one that says made in Alaska, that means it was made here in Alaska using regional materials. So those are the 2 different symbols that you want to look for when you're buying Alaska gifts for friends or clients. And then here's that seafood I mentioned. For anyone that is heading to the NACTA conference, we are shipping in some Alaska salmon to be served at the dinner. So I can't promise it today because we're all over the United States, but if you do come to Florida, we are shipping that in. The other great thing is the crab that we get here. So seafood is definitely a highlight for anyone or any of your visitors here in the summertime. And again, if you visit our visitor center, they can tell you exactly who is serving what fish or crab at what location. Another piece that a Visit Anchorage offers that you can, that we would be more than happy to send you if you do have clients that are going to spend a day, a week, or a month even in Anchorage. I know a month is pushing it, but here is our restaurant guide. So it kind of highlights some of the different restaurants from downtown to midtown to south that shows from elegant to pubs. So a great piece to give your clients if they're spending, again, a day, even a couple hours in Anchorage. What about fishing? A lot of people think they need to fly out to go fishing here in Alaska. Actually, you can fish in downtown Anchorage. This is Ship Creek. You can see the hotel, the Hilton Hotel right up there, which right across from that was the market we just talked about. So you go 3 more blocks down and you're on Ship Creek, and you can come wet a line, is how we call that. This is where you'll find a lot of Alaskans on their lunch hour. We go and fish depending on what salmon are running through this. We get about 15,000 that come through during May, June, and July. And it's either the silvers, the kings, or the pinks. But don't worry if your clients did not bring anything to go fishing with. We have what's called the bait shack right next to Ship Creek. So they'll give them their waders, their fishing pole, the lures. They'll tell them what's hitting at that time. And then after they catch them, they can tell them they'll help them package it up and ship it home. So again, if they have just a few hours and they really want to experience fishing, This is actually a little hot spot that we have in downtown Anchorage. Cultural and learning the history of Alaska is very important to us. We are considered a young city. We just turned 100 years old last year. But we have in downtown Anchorage on 6th and C Street the Anchorage Museum that in 2008 added the Smithsonian Arctic studies that you're seeing here in the slide. This is over 600 exhibits that actually came from Washington, D.C. 600 exhibits that had never been seen before until they built this in 2008. So it's actually spectacular to come see. Not only does it have this part of our museum, but then there's 10,000 years of history in the other Alaska section. There's an Imaginarium. So those that want to bring kids and kind of do some touch on science projects, we have what's called the Imaginarium. And then we have a new extension that's going to be opening in here in the fall of 2017. So again, send your guests to the museum. They won't be disappointed. If they want to actually meet an Alaska Native, you can go to the Alaska Native Heritage Center. This is where they have performances by our natives actually making their wares, building baskets, earrings, fishing lures, dog sleds, and then they have these performances, whether it's the Arctic Games or they're dancing or storytelling happening all the time. Or you can walk around the lake. It's a man-made lake, but it has these 6 different village sites, and they have the different, you can see on this map, each village site shows the type of housing that is from that area. And then you actually get to meet someone that lives either in the southeast or southwest or from the villages of an Athabascan village. And you get to see how the tools they use, what animals they use, because each of these regions hunt different animals. They, based on their regions, like we talked about earlier on that map, they have to build their houses based on what their tundra looks like, what their, if they have any wood up there, or so forth and so on. So a great place to go. Again, we have shuttle service from the log cabin that'll take you actually to the museum and out to the Alaska Native Heritage Center. This is about a 10-minute drive, 10 to 15-minute drive from downtown Anchorage. But you can get what's called the Culture Pass. So it saves your clients $15 if they buy the Culture Pass, and they can visit both of these great places, the Anchorage Museum and the Alaska Native Heritage Center. Trails from downtown. So we talked about all those great places we can eat. After they eat, we have these trails. We have over 185 trail miles just in downtown Anchorage, whether it's paved or wilderness. So our most popular, we mentioned that a little bit earlier, is the Tony Knowles Coastal Trail, which again begins in downtown Anchorage and goes out to Kincaid Park. The great thing about this trail is it is right from downtown, so they can finish dinner and go for a walk. Whether they want to go for just a short walk, we have benches that overlook it, because you can see you're overlooking the water, which is Cook Inlet. On a clear day, you can see actually Mount Denali from that viewpoint. You're looking at the migratory birds that are flying around, also looking for some of those whales that come into Cook Inlet. And again, there's a chance of running into these guys. Our trails are full of moose because they like them just as much as we do. We have over 1,500 moose that live in the Anchorage area, just because we have all those wonderful flowers that we plant, the bushes, the trails that are easy for them. And again, they're harmless unless you agitate them. So a great way to see one of these creatures is to go for a walk or a bike ride on our trail systems. And then if you have clients that come in early June, they'll get to see their babies. Babies are born at that time, and that is the one time when they really need to be leery of moose. That's when they're the most protective, just like any of us mamas. We're protective of our babies. So you give them space when you see them, take them any pictures as you want, but just respect them as long as they have their babies. Again, going on our trails from downtown, we talked about the Tony Knowles Coastal Trail. That's a paved one. Here's one of those wilderness paths. This is about 20 minutes from downtown Anchorage, and we mentioned the shuttle leaving from the log cabin. This is called Flat Top, probably the most hiked trail that we have from downtown Anchorage, because you can see the viewpoint. It overlooks all of downtown Anchorage. You're in the Chugach Range, and you can see Cook Inlet. It is about 3 miles up. It is a pretty good incline. You start about 1,500 feet elevation, you climb to 35. But if you have clients that don't want quite that much of a hike, they can do a 1 mile trail that actually is a little bit flatter, and it'll take them over to a platform that overlooks the same view. Now we're going to head south. So that was kind of just a little bit of Alaska and downtown Anchorage, what there is to offer. But now we're going to travel a little bit south because this is where the cruise lines come into Whittier and in Seward. So we're going to kind of make our way from Anchorage down to Seward. Our first stop is in Bird Creek. This is about 20 minutes south of Anchorage. And this is where they can go ATVing. What's so great about ATVing is you can get out into the wilderness, go down these amazing paths over these waters. You get to this awesome waterfall, but you're also tracking bear and moose in this area. So if your clients truly want that ATV adventure and go look for moose and bear, this is with Alaska ATV Adventures in Bird Creek. Traveling a little bit further, we're getting to Alyeska Resort, which is about 45 minutes south of Anchorage. And this is probably one of our nicest resorts that we have. A lot of the cruise ships, if they do land packages, include Alyeska Resort because it truly is amazing. It is located in the Chugach National Park in a rainforest. And then another stop, if they're not overnighting, a lot of the cruise ships on their transfers will stop to take this tram that you're seeing. It is a ski in and ski out hotel in the winter, and in the summer they slow that tram down and you're doing some sightseeing to get to the top, because on the top of the mountain is a restaurant called Seven Glaciers. It's named that because you literally see 7 glaciers from it, and it's one of the 3 restaurants we have in Anchorage that is the 4-diamond AAA rated. So it's a very nice restaurant on the top, and you're at 2,300 feet up in the air. So a very special thing for your clients to do. They also have they just redid the Tides deli up top, so if they want a little bit more casual dining, there is that also available. And there's some great hiking trails also after they get off the tram. They can actually hike up to one of those 7 glaciers I mentioned and actually touch a glacier. And then they're welcome to hike down on some of the ski trails. They actually have one that they can rent a bike and they can either mountain bike or walk down. Again, you're looking for bear and moose in this area, so they do give you bells to carry around with you. A big wow in Girdwood is do a helicopter flight scene. Not only is a helicopter a big wow, but you get to land on a glacier. This is Punch Bowl Glacier that they land on, and that's about 3,500 feet elevation. But what's cool about that, not only do you get to drink the glacier water, but you actually can go dog sledding. So we do offer dog sledding year-round here, but if clients want to do it in the summertime, if they do it on land, you'll be on wheels, but if they really want that true experience on snow and ice, then they do have that through Alpine Adventures. It's a glacier landing with dog sledding, and most of the time you're going to get a hold of puppy. This is an Iditarod musher that's up there. If you guys know about the Iditarod, it's our one professional sport here. In the wintertime in March that happens, and so if you want to meet a musher, go for a dog sled, hold a puppy, land on a glacier, drink some glacier ice, and don't forget a helicopter flight scene tour. This is a big wow right in Girdwood, Alaska. And then about a little bit further on from Girdwood and Alyeska is the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. This is for guaranteed wildlife viewing. As you can see right here, this is the bear walk. This is a black bear on one side. On the other side of the bear walk is 3 grizzly bears. So a great place to actually see the animals. You also get to see this guy. This was Jack. He's no longer with them anymore, but they do have 3 other moose there. And the great thing about the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center is it's over 220 acres in Portage Valley, so you can get the glaciers views. You can drive it or clients can walk it, but you really get to see the big animals of Alaska, such as the bears, the moose, the muskox, the caribou, and the elk. And this all started by taking in injured and orphaned animals, and it just has grown and grown on some federal grants that Mike and his family have been able to contain. So another great place to see guaranteed wildlife. And again, on those cruise transfers, a lot of them, if they take that motor coach, they actually will stop and do the drive-through here at the park. As I mentioned, all the cruise lines go into Whittier and Seward. What also happens in Whittier Seward are day boat cruises. So the difference between Whittier and Seward, Whittier is in a sound, so it's going to be milder, but it's more concentrated on glaciers. This is actually a photo from Prince William Sound. This is on the Klondike Express that does a cruise that's called 26 Glacier Cruise, because you actually see 26 different 26 different glaciers. So truly amazing. You still get the wildlife. You still get sea otters, sea lions, and whales in this area. It's a little calmer for those clients that are a little bit worried about seasickness. But you can also do this out of Seward. Seward goes out into another national park, the Kenai Fjords National Park. So those that are wanting to check those off their list, then I would suggest Seward. You're going to get a little rougher water just because you're coming off the ocean, but you're really going to get more of the whales and the sea otters and sea lions and the birds because they're coming in from the ocean. So you still get to see glaciers there as well, but you're really focused on whale watching. So that's kind of the difference between doing a day boat cruise in Whittier and a day boat cruise in Seward. Both highly recommended for any of your clients. Also, what's offered is kayaking. So you can either kayak out of Whittier or you can kayak out of Seward. And those are great adventures that I've done in both locations. And to see sea otters or sea lions and even whales somewhat next to you as you're kayaking out there is truly spectacular. Also, as you head south is where all the fishing is. Yep, that is me. That is a silver I'm holding, which you can fish in September for. We call the Kenai Peninsula kind of the playground where Alaskans go to play. So this is where it's the best known fishing. And that is probably my favorite activity here in the summertime. Now we're going to travel north, and then we're almost done. So hopefully you guys are hanging in there. Everyone's doing well. We're going to travel north, and then we'll open it up to any questions. So we're going to head to the town of Talkeetna, which is about 2 hours from Anchorage, and you can either get there by driving or by train, and we'll talk about the train here in a little bit. But Talkeetna is another one of my favorite towns here. It is after that show Northern Exposure, if anyone's used to see that. That used to be one of my favorite shows, but it was based on the town of Talkeetna, but filmed in a small town in Washington. So a little fun fact for you. Okay, as we travel north from Anchorage, we're first going to hit what we call the Mat-Su Valley, which is Wasilla and Palmer. This is where a lot of our fresh vegetables come from. A lot of people don't know that we have a great agriculture and farm area here in Alaska, and this is where it's located. There actually is a new tour that, once again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but right next to the log cabin, you can pick up the tour called the Alaska Farm Tour. And it's a daily departure that you can go and visit 3 different farms in the Mat-Su Valley, and it includes a farm-to-table lunch. So a great way to have a day tour that departs from Anchorage and you get experience the Mat-Su Valley. What we do grow is we have rhubarb, we have cabbages, we have pumpkins, zucchini, and what we do grow, we can grow really large because of all that daylight that we have. This is also where some of our muskox and reindeer farms are located as well. The little Alaska grown is another symbol that you look for if you want to know if a vegetable or fruit has been grown here. You look for that Alaskan grown sticker. Also in Wasilla is the Iditarod Museum. So again, we mentioned that dog sledding on top of the glacier, not everyone can afford that. So there is dog sledding, which I mentioned you'll do on wheels here in the summertime. So again, at our Iditarod Museum in Wasilla, it's a good chance to hold puppies, meet some Iditarod dogs and Iditarod mushers, and then you can actually experience it by going on one of these wheeled carts and taking a tour around with these amazing athletes pulling you. A lot of clients want to see glaciers, so we talked about doing the day boat cruises so they can really see a glacier up close and personal, or they can actually hike on a glacier. We have in Alaska over 100,000 glaciers, so tons of glaciers here, and this is one of our accessible ones north. Going south, our most popular one is Portage Glacier. Our most popular one north is called the Matanuska Glacier, and you can see that here. And you can park your car and go out with guides and be hiking on it within 20 minutes. Some amazing photos taken on Mat-Su Glacier, and now you can actually add a zip line. They just added a zip line this year to this location, so a great afternoon to spend. This is about an hour and a half north of Anchorage, but lots to see and do and play on a glacier. And as I mentioned, we made it to Talkeetna, Alaska, one of my favorite towns here. This is Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge. I say they have the best mountain view because, as you can see in the background there, that is Mount Denali. So they actually have rooms that face the Alaska Range and Mount Denali, and a deck that you can sit there and have an appetizer and a cocktail and just take in the scenery. It's absolutely spectacular. This is ran by a company that used to be called Siri Alaska Tourism, but they just got bought out, and they're now called Alaska Collections, that runs the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge. Other great activities that you can do out of Talkeetna obviously is some flight seeing, because you're right next to, you're halfway to Denali National Park. So this is a great place to go up with K2 Aviation, and you can either circle around Denali, you can actually do a glacier landing. What's amazing about Talkeetna is anyone that's going to summit and go climb Denali, they actually start in Talkeetna, and that's where the base camp is. So you can actually see the base camp from Talkeetna, and possibly on that one road, the main road in Talkeetna, meet some of those that just went hiking. It's a little bit more of a hiking, climbing up Denali, because it is the tallest peak in North America. So flight seeing around it is truly breathtaking. And as we mentioned earlier, the Alaska Railroad is a great way to travel through Alaska. It goes the same way as our road system. So point 0 is in Seward, mile 0 is in Seward, and it goes up to Fairbanks, which is mile 500. And that is our main road system here in Alaska. We have one highway that goes north and one highway that goes south. And our Alaska Railroad travels right along with us. As you can see, it's not a high-speed train. It's a very much a sightseeing ride, so the max speed it can go is 49 miles. So, and that is because our road system and our railroad tracks don't go in a straight line. They have to go around the glaciers and the lakes and the mountains. So it's a very scenic way to sit back, relax, let the tour guides talk to you, give you a great history of the areas you're seeing. You're, again, looking for that wildlife, looking for the moose, looking for the swans, looking hopefully for those bears. But then also they have meal service on board and beverage service. So again, a great way to travel in Alaska. And here is just kind of a quick map that shows the rail belt that follows along our road system. And here we're going from Anchorage all the way up to Fairbanks. That does take 12 hours on the train, just because they do make stops along the way. They make a stop in Wasilla, they make a stop in Talkeetna, Denali, and then up to Fairbanks. It is a daily departure from Anchorage, whether they go north or they do daily departures that will go south on the Coastal Classic train. So they go from Anchorage to Seward with a stop in Girdwood and Portage. They also do what's called the Glacier Discovery Train, and you can see it doesn't quite go to Seward. It goes actually up to Grandview and into Spencer Glacier. There's two companies that got a 10-year permit to now actually go into the lake, into Spencer Lake, into Spencer Glacier, which is in a fantastic way, either going by rafting or by kayaking. You can ask Lorene about this. We did this on one of our fam trips. Truly is, you get to ride the train, go to where no one else gets to go in the wilderness, get right up to the glacier, and then and see the icebergs. So truly amazing trip, again, leaving from Anchorage. And then the last one is the hurricane turn on the yellow there. So that's just one that happens in the summer. And this is for those that live off the grid. So this is those that don't, people live off into the wilderness. They'll come and they can flag down the train on the hurricane turn. And that's how they get their groceries in and out of that area. And that goes from Talkeetna and just a little bit south of Cantwell. And of course, there is the winter train, so don't forget, we are open year-round, and the train is too, but they only operate in the wintertime on the weekends, but you can go all the way up to Fairbanks And as Lorene mentioned, the NACTA conference is coming here in 2017. We could not be more excited to be hosting this, and we are hoping everyone can join us. We're going to have some great pre and post fans. Along with that, this is going to be the conference itself is going to be at the Hotel Captain Cook, which is one of our nicest hotels here in downtown Anchorage. And then I know Bob and Ann are working on a pre and post cruise with either Holland America or Princess. So lots going to be happening. I do hope I'll see you also in Fort Lauderdale. We have an Alaska panel lunch that we're going to talk about some more adventures that you can do while here in September. And then we're also hosting a dinner, and I'm bringing in some live entertainment. And like I said, some of that Alaska salmon will be served with birch syrup on it. So hopefully that entices you to see you in Florida and to come here. If you've never been here or want to revisit, this will be a great time to come for the annual conference. Now I say this is just the start. Let's not be strangers. Let's socialize. So this is how you can socialize with us. You can either do it on Facebook, which is you see facebook.com/Anchorage. You guys are all now Anchorage Wild Experts, the Explorer Series #1. So if you haven't done that training with us before, I will get the list from Lorene and I will send you a certificate and congratulate you for learning a little bit more Anchorage has to offer in South Central. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. So you can see where our Instagram tag is at Anchorage Wild Experts. And then don't forget about our website. It is anchorage.net, and then there's a tab called Travel Trade that you want to hit. There, if you're having an Alaska night or promoting an Alaska cruise or anything Alaska or Anchorage, we have sales material that we'd love to send out to you. We have sample itineraries, so if you want to put your own itinerary together, we have photos you can use for any of your social media or websites. And then again, this is where our training is. And I would highly recommend going and watching our training online, because one thing I can't do on webinars is show some of the great videos we have. So the one online actually will have those videos. So it's another reminder of what we talked about, plus some videos to kind of show you the inside of like the museum or or how dog sledding looks, or our fun 3-minute video they can use as well. So let's not be strangers. Let's socialize. Also, what Visit Anchorage loves to do is help you sell Alaska. So if you have clients that are going to be here for a couple hours, for an overnight or a couple nights, let us help you answer those questions, whether it's what events are happening, what restaurant you want to send them to, or even a hotel recommendation or a tour recommendation. We are here to help you. And if I can't answer it, and I have 6 other people in my office that can, and all of us have lived here either all our life or 10 plus years. So we do have the experience and the knowledge sitting in our office here. And with that, I say thank you. There is my email. If you do have any questions after we're done, please don't hesitate to email me with those. It's tfraley@anchorage.net. And here's a few pictures of me enjoying South Central Alaska and all the wonders we have here. I will turn it over to Lorene and see if there's any questions out there.
Oh, wonderful. We do have a couple of questions, and I want to thank you again. And people are actually in the background going, "Thank you, Tia," so.
Awesome.
And it was really great to see that you kind of, spotlighted a couple of the local little vendors. I have been on Jody Overstreet's photo shoot. I love photography. Anybody who knows me, whether just from NACTA or in my real life, know one of the things I do to help bring my clients the visual of Alaska is to actually put photos in a slideshow together. And some of my photos this recent time were also collected from doing that trip. And she does a great job. I know that she has done NACTA FAMs in the past when she still worked for Visit Anchorage. And it's very exciting to see that someone from Visit Anchorage said, I'm going to go with my passion. And it was a big leap of faith for her to leave. I know it was hard for you guys to go, no, don't leave the nest. And, because she was such an important part. How many years did you work there?
15.
That's a huge amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, like Lorene just said, to watch someone go after their passion and do it well. It's fantastic to see her in her new role we do miss her, but she's just right across the street, so she's not too far away.
She's just across the street. She promotes the heck out of you guys, which is totally awesome because, and I have sent 2 different sets of clients on her trip, and they all had a wonderful time, raved about her. So if you have clients and you're looking to do something a little bit different, definitely plan. It's going to be in the evening, so even if they land during the day, trust me, with the time change difference thing going on, she doesn't usually start until like 9, maybe 10 because it's still light.
That's right. It sounds crazy, but with all that sunlight, you really forget about what time it is.
Exactly. And she does sunset safaris, so
yes.
It's perfect. So reining back in and getting back onto the topics, because I'm good that way. One agent asked if you could explain the difference between dog sledding and dog mushing.
Ooh, there really is not a big difference between mushing is when you're actually in charge of the dogs. Dog sledding is what you're doing, but when you're dog mushing, you're actually the one standing on the back giving the commands. And there are some, which I should mention, like Alaska Salmonberry. I didn't have a slide for them, but they're a locally owned and operated tour company that operates year-round here. But they have the exclusive rights with Dallas Seavey. If anyone does follow the Iditarod, he won it this year. He comes from a family of Iditarod mushers, and if you go out on one of their tours, they actually will let you stand and help give commands. You're always with a musher on your dog sledding tours, but they'll teach you what the commands that the dogs know how to go right, left, or stop. So
perfect. There's an agent on here who's a woman after my own heart. Her question to you is, okay, wait for it. At the NACTA convention, we will also be bringing Alaskan king crab legs. Or just salmon.
We're just bringing salmon. I wish I could bring crab legs, but they're not as in season as our salmon. So I am bringing salmon, and it is going to be topped with, I'm sending what is called birch syrup. So a lot of people are used to maple syrup, but but a couple in Talkeetna taps our birch trees, and they actually make birch syrup. What's so fantastic about it is just the taste that you get from them. It's just like nothing else. I usually bring these little birch candies that everyone kind of gets a little taster of it, but when you spread it on the salmon, it's absolutely delicious. So we're bringing both of those specialties to the NACTA conference. And if you compare maple syrup to birch syrup, it takes 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. When you compare that to birch, it's 100 to 1. So a lot of love goes into our birch syrup.
Oh, awesome. So you can treat us like royalty.
Absolutely. Try our best.
Now, you mentioned Salmonberry Tours, which a lot of people know Candace and Mandy. And yes. Candace will be at our NACTA conference representing Salmonberry Tours without the boys. I'm sure.
I know, they're so cute.
Do you know if there are other local Anchorage suppliers that are going to be at the conference? Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
I do, yes, great question. So the Alaska panel that we're hosting on Friday, it will feature Candace from Alaska Salmonberry, Megan from the Alaska Railroad will be there, Darren from the Hotel Captain Cook. We also have Michelle from Alaskan Dream Cruises, and Serene from Juneau Tours that does the whale watching tours, and then Stephen, who will be representing the Alaska Native Heritage Center. So quite a variety of different Alaskans that are going to be on the panel and then there for the engagement and trade show as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, you know, this is my twisted mind. You've known me for a long time, and any member of NACTA knows I like to do out-of-the-box thinking. So there's going to be lots and lots of agents there, and I know that there's going to be a trade show. So if you don't mind, I'm actually going to make a recommendation to those of you listening to the call and those of you who are also going to be at the conference, make your presence known to her. Not only do you go up to her and give her a big old hug because she's, you know, like really friendly and everything, but
I do like hugs.
When you meet her and you give her your business card, write on the back of the card that you were on her NACTA conference webinar. That way she will actually be able to go afterwards, because we've all been to trade shows and we also know when we collect a ton of business cards, they all kind of blend together. Make yourself stand out. Make yourself known to her that you were on this webinar and that you took the whole 5 seconds it took to write on the back of the card, I was on your webinar. So make yourself known to her, because, you know, we all want to kind of raise above the waterline, and I think that's a creative way that you can do that. What do you think, Tia?
I think that's awesome. And if you tell me Lorene rocks, I'll give you a little present. How about that?
I like it. I like it. Let's see. Okay, somebody's asking about they know about the conference, and also as a special incentive for those of us who will be at the Florida conference, we will be receiving early registration for the conference, and also get more information regarding the cruise and any pre or post. There will be pre, and I because I'm not on that part of the food chain that's involved in this, I don't know if there's pre and post cruises. I do know that there's going to be some land only pre and or post also, which, to be completely honest, I will be on one of those. I don't know which one I'll be hosting, but I'm assuming I'm going to host one of them, because you can do a cruise anytime. Doing the land is, you know, Tia mentioned I've been on some land, and honestly, that's starting to be all I'm sending my clients on. Almost all my clients this year have either done a land portion in front of a cruise, like 5 nights ahead, and then going on a southbound cruise, or I've actually had several clients this year who only went on land, and it's a completely different experience than if you're doing the inside passage. I mean, it's a total different world. So I encourage everybody to see what the land's like, not just see the ports. Awesome. We, of course, always want to support the cruise line. It's a completely different experience.
Absolutely.
I had one of my clients cry because the very last day, they were land only, very last day, they did this scarf painting. Oh my God, I have some of the best photos of the scarf painting her daughter and husband did. And the last day they did the cultural center. The woman cried because she is also part Native American, and she found her tribe there. And she just texted me going, thank you. You just changed my life. And as a travel agent, to get that kind of compliment about, oh my God, I found my family, it just gives me goosebumps now, just talking about that. You too have the opportunity to change someone's feelings about things. So
love it.
Anyway, thank you, Tia. Do you have any last remarks? Can they get brochures through the website? I did post that to everybody, the travel trade link.
Excellent. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, from there, go to travel trade link up top, and you can order sales kits. You can do the training there. You can see the itineraries, and then it's also how you can contact any of our sales team here in the Tourism Development Department as well.
Got it. I think either someone is saying ooh a lot, which is completely possible, or their cat's walking on the keyboard, which my cat did that to me the other night. Ooh, I got, in the next morning I went, ooh, yeah, oh, lovely. Thanks, Molly. One other person said, are you going to be doing webinars level 2 and 3?
Ooh, that's a great question. We'll probably line up that soon here with Lorene. We would love to do 2 next. I know I just came off a Peninsula Travel Show where we're traveling around depending on what area. We do list where we're doing live trainings on our website as well under travel trade. So if you can come to a live training, I just got back from California myself in the northern part. We have someone in the southern part now, and I did the AW2 training live there. But definitely we will look at doing a webinar for the 2. Probably not the 3. Right now the 3 is the now and then, so it's kind of more of just a history because we turned 100 years old. So it's a great piece just to kind of learn the history of Anchorage.
Excellent, excellent.
And then the newest one, well, we do have number 4 coming out hopefully in the next couple months, and we're really going to be focusing on the adventures of Alaska because we know that as the baby boomers start to travel, they want a little bit more of an adventure, and so we're really going to focus on the Mild to Wild. And if you're getting those millennial clients, they do want more of that wild adventure that we definitely have to offer here in Alaska.
Perfect, perfect. And also, fellow NACTA members, if you have any questions, I think Tia can probably attest that I sell a significant amount of Alaska and
Yes,
and would be considered maybe an Alaska expert. I don't know. It just depends on kind of how people are feeling about that. But I'm always happy to be a resource for you.
So you're a superstar.
Yeah, right. But I do have a lot of people kind of poke me in the background. Do you have some recommendations? What do you do? How do I get them just off the cruise ship? And that's what I'm here for. I'm one of your peers. I am not a NACTA employee. I'm one of you guys. I'm a member, and I also happen to be the Northwest Regional Director. So if we had an Anchorage chapter, which Tia, you and I should get together and try to figure out how we can create one up there. Got to get some members up there.
Yes.
I would I'll be the chapter director, or well, not the chapter director, but the regional director, and pull that area under my wing because we all need. I think you and I need to talk when I get up there. We'll see each other in Florida. So.
Yes, let's continue that conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. As I said, this is being recorded, and we will have the link to you tomorrow. I am going to put it up on the YouTube account. For those of you who came on the call late, this is being recorded. It will go on to YouTube. I am going to transfer it over right now as soon as you get off the phone, and we will send a link to you tomorrow with the link to do it. So thank you, Tia. We will see each other in a little bit over a week.
Sounds wonderful. See you in sunny Florida.
There you go. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you.